So welcome to today's session. Let's do an exercise first before we go to our slides, yeah? So let's do an exercise together so that, we can actually be fully present and arrive in tonight's class, okay? This is a very brief mindfulness-based practice. So I invite you to wherever you're seated, either on a cushion or on a chair, just intentionally and abruptly, adjust yourself. I think you can see me doing that. Adjust yourself and then have a check on the body. So hopefully having our back upright instead of slouching or leaning back at the chair. We have it upright but relaxed, dropping your shoulder, relax, and your neck very aligned to your head. And finally, if you feel comfortable to close your eyes fully, I invite you to close them fully. Or if not, just drop your gaze away from your laptop or your mobile phone. Drop it to a spot in front of you that you're comfortable to focus on if you're not closing your eyes. Okay, let's do that. Let's get into that mindful posture. And then let me guide you through this brief exercise. Step 1 of this exercise, I invite all of you to just turn inwards to your inner experiences. And what are those? These are your thoughts, feeling, or body sensation that you sense or felt. Just be aware and acknowledge all these inner experiences without having to change them. So whatever thoughts that arises, just note it, aware, acknowledge. Whatever feeling that is being felt, just be aware. And whatever body sensation that perhaps is being sensed right now, just note them. So just gently be aware and acknowledge all these inner experiences. Just allow it. Thoughts, feeling, body sensation. Just be aware, acknowledge, and allow. Gently, we move to step 2 of this exercise. I would like to invite you now to bring your awareness or attention to where the breath is for you. Some of us feel the breath at the nostril area. Some of us feel it right at the tummy or our abdomen area. So you can actually sense your abdominal wall or your abdominal muscle rising and falling, right? So wherever it is, or even if you can't sense in these 2 locations, so you know you're breathing in and out right now. So you're just sitting here, breathing in and out. So wherever the focus is, gentle focus and awareness on the breath, breathing in and out. In case your mind wander away, not to worry, just gently bring the mind back to be aware or focus on the breath, breathing in and out. No matter how many times the mind wander away, it's all right. Just bring it back gently to the breath, breathing in and out. Very gently, we move to step 3 of this exercise. I invite you now to expand the awareness of the breath now to the whole body sitting right here. Maybe you can imagine this whole body is breathing in and out. The breath is going in and out through all your skins. The light sensation on your skin. So just sitting here right now, breathing in and out. This expanded awareness of the breath nourish this whole body, nourishing this whole body sitting here. Breathing in and out. Let the breath nourish this body of ours, especially it's evening time, right? At the end of the day. Let the breath nourish the body that could be tired or could be sore, yeah, or could be going to bed. Let this body be nourished by the breath. Take a few more breaths. And then I would like to invite you guys to transition back to the class, but let's do it gently. You can perhaps wriggle your fingers or toes or move your body a little bit because you have been sitting upright. And those of us, our eyes has been closed, just be gentle when we open them because we have lights in the room. So take your time to transition back to the class. All right, so the number of participants has increased, yeah, since we started the brief exercise, yeah, so more and more people have joined us, yeah, good. So welcome again for those that have just joined us. So you have not missed anything, don't worry. We were just doing a brief mindfulness-based exercise before we go into our class for today. Okay, so I hope everybody is back. In case you doze off, don't worry. And in case you feel like, I just feel like going to bed now, I would tell you that please go to bed because that itself is a self-compassion practice. Because you are tired, your body is tired, your body and mind is tired. All you need is actually sleep instead of listening to me for 1.5 hours. Yeah. So that remembering to care for this body and mind of ours itself is part and parcel of self-compassion practice. And the topic is how to cultivate self-compassion. And those of you who would like to continue to actually learn more, I invite you to actually go to my social media, either the LinkedIn or Facebook. I do share a lot on mindfulness and self-compassion, and of course, including sharing from teachers, teachers in this area, the sifus and the gurus in this area, So those are my brief social media information. And I think today's group mostly are Buddhist devotees or Buddhist friends in our community. I must emphasize that, we do not practice self-compassion in isolation. And in fact, self-compassion is part of compassion, which is karuna. Yeah. And this is, of course, part of our 4 Brahma Viharas. Yeah. So nevertheless, yeah. So the foundation is actually these 4 Brahma Viharas practice. But today, what I'll do is that I'll zoom in more specifically, especially on the self-compassion piece, which sometimes may not get emphasized during our Dhamma classes on 4 Brahma Viharas, especially if we are covering all these 4 at one class. Yeah. So, and I would also like to take this opportunity to actually help Satya Alam Sambodhi Buddhist Association to announce that they are currently doing this series of 4 Brahma Viharas sharing on their Sunday Dhamma talk session, Sunday morning. And I'm actually speaking on mudita, appreciative joy, on 31st August. Sorry, what am I talking about 31st August? I'm the sleepy one and the tired one tonight. 31st October, right? So which is in 2 weeks' time. So for those of you who would like to follow the 4 Brahma Vihara series, please check them out at their Facebook or join me in the morning class on the 31st October on Appreciative Joy Mudita. So I'm glad they actually split up the 4 topics so that we can zoom in, yeah, more specifically on each of these 4 Brahma Viharas. Yeah. So for those of you who are like quite new, oh, what is Sister Mian talking about these 4 Brahma Viharas? Please go and learn more about it, because this is truly a very important foundation, especially in us managing the stresses and the challenges in our life in the area of mental health. Yeah, especially managing emotion. These are core teachings from the Buddha. Yeah, that has been taught by the Buddha to us. Yeah. So I wanted to emphasize this, especially at today's topic. Okay. So, and of course, today's topic, what I would like to bring on is also from the psychological, scientific research area. And as Brother Manyi has introduced, I'm actually a trained teacher in mindful self-compassion. So subsequently, all the slides that I'm going to share with you is actually based on my own learning, my own journey, learning this first as a student, and then later on went to do the teacher's training to be a trained teacher. Yeah. And this program, Mindful Self-Compassion, it is actually 8 weeks. Each week is 2.5 hours. Between week 6 and 7, we have a 1-day silent retreat. And this tonight, what I'm going to do is going to share with you just half of week 1 of this program. Okay, so and these are the 3 core book, I would say, for those of you who love to read. And that's how I got into it, because I first stumbled upon Dr. Christopher Germer book, The Mindful Path to Self-Compassion. It was that book that prompted me to further my journey. Yeah, and of course, over the years, then I became a trained teacher. And the website here, yeah, Center for Mindful Self-Compassion. Yeah, this is the official website for you all to go to. Yeah, especially some of the details that I may not have time to share with you. Please go there. The website is full of good information, including meditative practice of this whole program, yeah, the Mindful Self-Compassion program, which you can check it out. Yeah, but of course, naturally, it cannot, be fully a self help, and you just learn it yourself. Yeah, because it's pretty comprehensive. Yeah, so but nevertheless, I'm not going to what could I get excited myself, talking about this, because I love this program myself. I love teaching them, and of course I love attending them earlier in my journey. And what I hope is, of course, give you all a beginning interest to it. But before we even go into it, I wanted to bring this up because I feel that It is so important. There's a lot of misconception, misunderstanding towards circular mindfulness training and circular compassion-based training. Yeah, and of course, a lot of times it's because the talk is too brief, and so on and so forth. So it's very natural that people may not fully understand, and so on and so forth. But what I like to do is to emphasize that for mindfulness and self-compassion practices, yeah, in fact, this is emphasized in our 8 weeks program. Yeah, please remember, yeah, I want to start with the first bullet. Yeah, it is the practice that's very important. That's why it is 8 weeks. So let it be a practice focused on the direct experiences that you have during the practices, instead of keep thinking about, wow, why this step, why this technique. Yeah, in fact, that's one of our challenges, because the thinking mind, yeah, gets into the why. Yeah, so practice focus is very important. Second one, gradual learning. So today I may leave you hanging because today is a short program. Yeah, but what is very important too, I would like us to learn this, is that, mindfulness and self-compassion practices, and especially, yeah, our Buddhist meditation classes, yeah, we really need this gradual learning mindset, allowing ourselves to be slow learner, gentle and patient, supporting ourselves along the journey. This itself is a self-compassion practice, yeah, because when we struggle in the practice and when we give up, we don't want to meditate anymore because it's so difficult to meditate, yeah, then we are being very harsh towards ourselves. Yeah, so this gradual learning itself, yeah, not only a mindset, but it is actually a self-compassion practice. Yeah, and the third bullet, very important, always remember, mindfulness and self-compassion practices are very helpful practices. Yeah, as a psychologist, I teach these practices to individuals that come to me for counseling. Yeah, but yeah, I know that it's not a cure for all. Yeah, so, and a lot of people, unfortunately, yeah, they do this as a self-help, self-practice. Yeah, especially after attending a talk or just a brief workshop, or they buy the 3 books I mentioned just now. Yeah, and they do the self-practice. Yeah, so please be aware and be mindful. If you're just doing self-practice, it's not sufficient. Yeah, and sometimes you even fall into struggling or experiencing difficulties. Yeah, and my advice is that if you are doing self practice, you are struggling, please stop, put aside the practices. Yeah, when you struggle and you force yourself to practice, that itself is the opposite of self compassion. Okay, or perhaps, yeah, these self help practices, has not been helpful, is because we do have personal needs, or what I call personal difficulties or challenges, including past trauma, yeah, that we may be struggling with. Yeah, but of course, the stigma of going to mental health professional for support is still very high. So therefore, people don't go for help. Yeah. So, but please, yeah, if you do have these personal needs, please, one of the takeaway from my session tonight is to really open up yourself and consider getting this professional support, or even start with a community free helpline. Yeah, the BGF itself with our GEM helpline. Yeah, so on and so forth. Yeah, Tanxiang, we have our Mitra line, so on and so forth. So this is very important. I want to get this across very explicitly. Yeah, because a lot of people really, they suffer so much because they go through, like, attending Dhamma talk, very diligently, attend perhaps every single series of this BGF site series, yeah, but still they're struggling. You cannot replace self-help for more complicated difficulties. Okay, so this is very important. Yeah, so, and of course, with this reminder, this is the topic that we are going into. And why self-compassion, right? So I'm zooming in straight to self-compassion. Yeah, although it is under the big compassion umbrella, but I don't have time. I'm going to zoom in into self-compassion. Yeah. So why self-compassion? And of course, yeah, from the psychological research base, yeah, it was very clear. Yeah, and this piece of research is actually very huge. Yeah, huge subject. Yeah, and this is quite new. Yeah, 2016. Yeah, which of course the pioneer researcher and psychologist in this area, which is Dr. Christine Neff, yeah, with her colleague Dr. Marisa Knox, yeah, they have repeated this research, of course, yeah. So the latest one has pointed out again very clearly that 78% of us are very compassionate towards others compared to ourselves. Yeah, which is good news. Yeah, which is good news, right? Because that means 78% of us are very compassionate and caring people. But from the psychological perspective, we have a problem because when this 78% forgot about themselves, this themselves can actually be at risk of stress, distress, or even falling into burnout because they have forgotten to care for themselves. Yeah. So very, very worrying statistic, 78%. 16%, of course, yeah, this is the I think expected. There's naturally a small percentage of people who are only compassionate towards themselves, but not other people. So in a way, these are the people who, just take care of themselves, right? So this is also not healthy. The healthy one, of course, is the 16%. Of course, I believe, after 7 years of practicing self-compassion diligently, I am in this category, the 16%, compassionate to self and compassionate to others equally. And this is very healthy psychologically. Yeah. And of course, yeah, one of the easiest way for us to understand self-compassion is, this thing that all of us means about flying, going for vacation. So one of the safety announcement when we take a flight is, please pull the oxygen mask to yourself first before you attend to those under your care. It is so clear, right? In case the plane has emergency, yeah, this is really important because pulling that oxygen mask to yourself first, if you are daddy and mommy, is even more crucial because if you start pulling the oxygen mask first to your child, first to the first child, yeah, by the time you want to pull to your second child, if you don't have the oxygen mask to yourself, you may be out of breath and collapse, and you cannot attend to your second child or even third child, right? So therefore, pulling that oxygen mask to yourself first, that 1-2 second, yeah, of putting the oxygen mask to yourself first will give you the breath or give you, yeah, the energy to be able to attend or even save other people. Yeah. So this is crucial. Yeah, this is crucial. Yeah. So, but unfortunately, like I said, there are 78% of good caring people. Yeah, but they are not putting enough oxygen to themselves. So at many times they are the one, unfortunately, yeah, may actually break down, fall apart, or like I say, burnout. Yeah. And this pandemic, we are seeing a lot more. I'm trying to imagine too, I'm not sure because of this pandemic if Dr. Neff and Dr. Knox measure this again, would this statistic change? Yeah, would the 78% even increase more? Yeah. So anyway, that is the work of Dr. Christine Neff, and in fact, she started working on this 2003. Yeah. So it's a long period of research. Yeah. I'm just pulling the latest research, which is 2016. But basically, why self-compassion? Yeah. So that loving others without losing ourselves. We want to continue to be loving and compassionate and caring. We are not going to be selfish, yeah, by practicing self-compassion. That is one of the biggest misunderstanding, yeah, misconception. Yeah. So what we want is that loving others as we are already are, but we don't want to lose ourselves. we want to remember to take care of ourselves. Therefore, we give ourselves compassion, not to feel better. We give ourselves compassion because we are human beings. We will be feeling stressed, feeling down and bad, feeling painful, stressful, and etc. Yeah, that's the law of nature. So we need compassion, yeah, in the different period of our life, right? So we give ourselves compassion because we are feeling all these stresses and all these challenges in our life. Yeah. So self-compassion naturally is a way of training the mind and heart to be more kind, loving, and compassionate. They are practices of goodwill and good intention and not of good feeling. Yeah. This is a very catchy term here because we always stress that we want to practice self-compassion because we know it is out of good intention, because we know we are struggling in our life. Yeah, and not just want to practice because I want to feel good, I want to fix my problem, you know. So that itself is tricky, because if you practice self-compassion practices because you want to get rid of your pain, because you want to get rid of your stress, you want to fix the problem, like I say, when there is an expectation, then the struggle will continue. Yeah, so that's the tricky part. So the way, hopefully, yeah, usually when we teach this program is that hopefully, yeah, it'll be just part and parcel of our life, that we just want to shower ourselves with self-compassion. Yeah, so that is a very basic principle. And what is self-compassion? Yeah, Christine Neff definition about self-compassion, it is about, yeah, responding in the same supportive, understanding way you would respond to a good friend of yours if that good friend is struggling. When you yourself have difficult time, when you fail, or when you notice something you don't like about yourself, or like I say, you know, you are just feeling yucky. Okay, so because when our friends are down and out, you know, we are always there to console them, to support them. But when we are down and out, do we console ourselves or not? Yeah, do we send loving kindness to ourselves or not? Yeah, so this is the tricky part, because we've forgotten to do that. Yeah, and of course, at the bottom of my slide, we have the self-compassion test, of course, designed by Dr. Christine Neff. So you can go to that website, yeah, and take the test. Not now, please, yeah, after the program, and you can, of course, you know, do it even periodically to see, you know, how is your practice of self-compassion? How self-compassionate are you? Yeah, but the self-compassion that Dr. Christine Neff has researched on for the last 15 to 20 years, she actually defined it clearly. There are 3 elements that we practice when we are practicing self-compassion. Not only 1, 3. And it's very interesting if you look at it. Yeah, the first one she highlighted is talking about kindness, self-kindness. Yeah, so self-compassion entails being warm and understanding towards ourselves when we suffer, fail, or feel inadequate, rather than ignoring our pain, or, you know, flagellating ourselves with self-criticism. Hiya, why am I so weak? You know, and we are so harsh to ourselves. Yeah. So, and this is a very interesting self-criticism, self-judgment, self-doubts, right? So and so forth is very common, actually. Yeah, you may want to reflect. Have you had occasion when you were scolding yourself, criticizing yourself, or even cursing yourself? Yeah, especially when you're angry with yourself, making mistake. Yeah, and we would not do this kind of things to our friends, you know. When our friend make mistake, yeah, we will console them, we will say nice words to motivate them. But when it's ourselves, unfortunately, we can go to this extreme of what I call self-criticism, self-judgment, or self-doubting. Yeah, so, and of course, on the opposite side is this self-kindness. Yeah, practicing self-kindness. Second practice, the second element, common humanity. Yeah, her definition is, this is normal It's part of what it means to human. Open the door to grow from the experience. In the gist, common humanity means reflecting that I am not alone in whatever struggle I'm going through. This is a human experience, right? Nobody is exempted from problem and stresses in their life. Or even, yeah, a lot of times, we fall into this dark hole when, we make a huge mistake, for example, yeah. But to tell you the truth, right? If you really reflect on it, let's say at the moment that we make the most huge mistake and being scolded, let's say by our manager or boss, in another part of the world, I'm very sure, as not to say other part of the world, within Kuala Lumpur and Selangor itself too, there could be another employee that's being scolded by their boss or manager. Yeah. But a lot of times, yeah, when we experience difficulties, yeah, we tend to fall into like, why me? Yeah, why? And this is the one that's so tricky. And this is the one that could pull us into anxiety and even depression. But if only we remember common humanity. Hang on, hang on. This is difficult, but I'm not alone in this struggle. If I'm not alone in this struggle, maybe I can get help. Yeah, and this is the interdependent, yeah, that human being that we have. Yeah, how do we actually then work together, live together, support each other? Yeah, so this is the beautiful practice of common humanity. And the third element, not a surprise, right? It's mindfulness. So Christine Neff say, when you practice self-compassion, you cannot miss out the practice of mindfulness. In order to have self-compassion, we have to be willing to turn towards and acknowledge our suffering. And of course, one of the way, yeah, is for us to be aware and mindful, to be brave, to address what has arises in this present moment. Because what arises in this present moment can be pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. And of course, the pleasant one, we are fine, neutral one, depending, but it's the unpleasant one that we always resist or struggle with, right? So hopefully the practice of mindfulness will support us to be able to face the difficulties, yeah, and of course, then work on it with kindness and common humanity. That's her beautiful three elements when we practice self-compassion. So it's a combined practice of these three elements. Okay, so let's just quickly in a very different manner. And all this beautiful poster, by the way, I took from the Center for Mindful Self-Compassion Facebook. Yeah, they always post all this beautiful poster, which of course a lot of times I also forward or shared on my own Facebook posting. Right. Another Sifu or teacher, Steve Hickman. Yeah, so the main teachers are Dr. Christine Neff, Dr. Chris Germer, Dr. Steve Hickman. Yeah, these are the pioneer people. So Steve Hickman actually published a book recently, the Dummy series. So he actually wrote the self-compassion for dummies, right? So you know that the Dummy series, right, they have on every single topic. So the self-compassion topic, Steve was tasked to do that. So it was just been published probably a few months ago. Yeah. And Steve, of course, says this, yeah, when we can be loving, yeah, which is self-kindness, or when we can be loving, connected, and present for ourselves, then we are practicing self-compassion. And of course, this is much easier said than done, but it is a very nice way to keep this simple vision for all of us as we move forward in our journey in life. Yeah, in our journey in life, we would want to be a loving person, a connected person, and a person that is always present. Yeah, so this beautiful quote, of course, all of us teacher, is being taught this at the very beginning of our program, how we always embody, yeah, this lovingness, connectedness, and mindfulness. Presence here represents the mindfulness, right? How do we embody this every day in our life? Yeah. So and of course, this is the self-compassion practice. Yeah. And of course, myth and misconception of self-compassion, we cannot escape from talking about this, because naturally, yeah, every single class, everybody will have this misconception or myth, or when you want to call it misunderstanding, misconception or myth, whatever you know, call it. But this is the misunderstanding that people always feel, oh, you know, if I'm practicing self-compassion for myself, am I being selfish? Yeah. Or can you know, this practice, you know, make me a very soft, very weak person, you know? Or does this practice, you know, actually feels like a self-pity, a self-indulgent? Yeah. Or am I making excuses, yeah, when I'm practicing self-compassion? Or even, you know, if I acknowledge my limitation, is this undermining my motivation and I cannot be productive? Yeah. So these are the typical what to call that myth or misconception that people have when we practice self-compassion. But naturally, it is not, right? It is not. Yeah. And of course, one way that Christine Neff tried to highlight again, like why this self-compassion practice is so important, is because actually self-compassion practice got both sides. Yeah. It's not all about this consoling, soft, you know, soothing. You know, it's not all about that. It's actually two sides, the yin and the yang. It's very interesting. She started with the yin and the yang. Only recently, yeah, she actually changed the term to tender and fierce. Yeah, but it's actually the same. If you're reading the older books or listening to the older talks, yeah, so she will be talking about the yin and the yang. But the newer talk and the books, and in fact, she published the latest book called, you know, Fierce Self-Compassion. Yeah, actually, is the same. Yeah. So if you look at the simple poster by Christine Neff, right? The yin, of course, referring to the being with ourselves, comforting, soothing, validating, caring for ourselves. Yeah. The yang component, yeah, it is our practice of self-compassion that is more action-orientated, yeah, acting in the world, where we know how to protect, provide, and motivate ourselves. Okay, so I have my little notes here in the slide, as you can see, especially for well-being. Tender kind of self-compassion, the yin, the tender kind of self-compassion taps into the power of acceptance. Yeah, and naturally the power of acceptance is needed to heal our distress. Yeah, the soft tender part. And of course, this soft tender part, when we can be with ourselves, when we know or remember to soothe our pain, validate our pain, care for our pain. Yeah. So naturally, yeah, we have learned to handle difficult moments, hopefully with greater ease. And of course, yeah, this accepting our struggling, yeah, accepting the pain in our life, yeah, with tenderness, naturally, yeah, will soothe down the pain or the hurt. Yeah. So naturally, we need this yin part, the tender part. Yeah. Whereas, yeah, the fierce or the yang part of the self-compassion refers to the powerful, action-orientated side of us. Yeah. Speaking up assertively, caring for ourselves. Yeah. And this is where we can actually prevent bullying, harassment, right? So we are not going to be passive, yeah, to be bullied, right? So because we know how to be, you know, what to call that, fierce in our self-compassion, yeah. And of course, this type of motivation or action, it doesn't come from fear or inadequacy, you know. It actually comes from the place of strength and love, you know, because we know that we need compassion. Yeah. Yeah. We want ourselves to be well, yeah, for our own well-being. So this fierce compassion is definitely out of love, yeah, not out of inadequacy or fear. So this is the beautiful part of the yin and the yang. Okay, and of course, this is a very cute poster. Yeah. So on how Christine Neff put the yin and the yang. Yeah. So of course, this is a simple poster you can put to remind yourself, of what I've said in a long version just now. Yeah. So of course, yeah, when you practice self-compassion, yeah, so there's two part of the practice and the different exercises that we teach throughout the 8 weeks. Of course, is going to cover the two sides, yeah, the tender and the fierce. All right. So of course, today, I'm just giving you the big picture, yeah, the overview. Okay. And of course, going towards the end of the giving you the foundation, why we want to practice. Of course, naturally, of course, I did talk about, managing the expectation, but naturally, of course, we want to know the benefit of the practice. And listed here are the 5 bullets. Yeah, of course, there are much more, but I'm highlighting the main or critical one. Yeah, increase social connectedness, life satisfaction, happiness, and of course, the opposite, decrease stress, anxiety, depression, and emotional avoidance. And naturally, someone who practice self-compassion, the 16%, right? Your balance, compassion towards others and yourself, you will be this balanced person. Naturally, yeah, your relationship will be a very healthy, balanced relationship. Yeah. So with partners, family members, friends, colleagues, yeah, you connect compassionately. You are very open, honest, balanced. Yeah. You have fierce self-compassion, yeah, to protect yourself if you are being bullied, right? So this is what we talk about, yeah, improve relationship. And of course, naturally, part of building resilience, yeah. So we know how to manage the different challenges in our life, which of course usually come from the typical one, are the relationships and the conflicts, right? And of course, when we are this balanced person, we will be a better caregiver. Again, yeah. So, and naturally, I am in the profession of caregiving. Yeah. So this practices is very essential for actually people in the caregiving profession. Yeah. So, and of course, yeah, when you are this balanced person, you are a good leader. Yeah. So these are the benefits of practicing self-compassion. Yeah. So let me see what else I have. Okay, some nice poster. So like sort of like a summary or a nutshell, right? And this is again the emphasis from the teachers, the mindful self-compassion teachers. We need mindfulness, yeah, to ensure that the self-compassion practices isn't used in the service of resistance. What they meant here is that we use this for excuses. I am not available, or we use it for self-pity, or we use it for, oh, Sister Mian say, I need to care for myself, so I'm going to buy myself a big tub of Baskin Robbins ice cream, and I'm going to eat this ice cream. We are not talking about that, right? So this is very important, because that mindfulness piece is the one that keep us balanced. Yeah. So because the awareness and the mindfulness, yeah, that is the balance awareness in the mindfulness practice, yeah, will keep us balanced. And of course, we need the self-compassion practices so that we know how to, like I say, comfort ourselves or fight, healthily, yeah, so that we feel safe and secure enough to face the difficulties that we have mindfully aware now. When you're more mindful, that's why sometimes when we practice mindfulness, we begin to feel that, hey, how come I'm feeling more terrible? It's because you're much more aware now of your difficult experiences. Yeah, as you practice mindfulness or meditation more and more, your mind begin to settle down more, yeah, and more clear. And that's when you will see all your negative thoughts and emotion. Yeah, and sometimes this is the struggle. If you don't have this compassionate part to hold you, to console you, or hold ourselves and console ourselves, yeah, all these difficult experiences can be very difficult. Okay, So that's how she's very clear when she started teaching self-compassion. Yeah, her 3 element is inclusive of mindfulness. Yeah, so this is the 2 that always come together. Another teacher, yeah, Christy Arben is also one of my earlier teacher. So I like how she put it. Mindfulness offer us stability. Self-compassion offer us adaptability. Right. So I think. Naturally, yeah, in our Buddhist practice too, yeah, we always talk about vipassana practice, one wing, and metta practice, the other wing. Of course, metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha, the 4 Brahma viharas. Yeah, we need to have this balance. You cannot just have pure vipassana, right? We need these 4 Brahma viharas. So the 2 wing to balance out. Yeah, and how Christy put it, is of course in a very circular way. Yeah, and okay, the next slide is actually on practices. So let me pause for a while. Yeah, so what I've presented, all these slides is what I call core theory, core foundation. Yeah, about self-compassion. Yeah, so and I hope before we go into the Q&A, let me seize this opportunity in today's class to teach you the basic self-compassion practice, which is a very simple exercise, that hopefully will be an useful tool for you to practice. And of course, it's from Christine Neff, using her 3 elements. Okay, so it's called self-compassion break. So instead of giving yourself a coffee break, a Kit Kat break, an ice cream break, why don't we give ourselves a self-compassion break? Yeah, and this self-compassion break, naturally, it is a very useful tool or useful coping skill for us to apply when we are struggling. When we are feeling stressful, we are feeling angry, we are feeling irritable, we are feeling horrible. That is the part that the best time to practice this self-compassion break. But I need to let you know, so this exercise looks easy, may not be that easy. Initially, you actually need to practice it. Yeah, so you can go to that website I gave you, Center for Mindful Self-Compassion, download the self-compassion break audio guided exercise by Christine Neff or Chris Germer, if you prefer female voice or male voice. Yeah, just do it like a practice. Plug on the audio and do it as a practice, even though you're not having stress. So because getting yourself familiar with these 3 steps is important. If you today after Sister Mian's class, or you even take a snapshot of these 3 steps, then the next time that you feel stressed, you want to practice and you take it out, it may not work. So it's very important. All these practices can become very helpful and useful after we have learned how to use it, right? So in order to do that, you need to practice first. Practice first. And I even practice this on a regular basis as a very good pausing, small break, pausing break, to remind myself, about being compassionate to myself. So the step 1 of this practice, is actually mindfulness. So now, right? It's not so easy. So if you are not mindful, you're not a mindful person, right? So mindfulness practices, developing mindfulness practices is important, because if you're not mindful, you don't have this awareness. You don't even know when you are struggling. You can't even catch yourself when you are struggling. And this is the real suffering. We see a lot of people like zombie, right? They don't even know that they are burning out. They don't even know they are breaking down. They are like a zombie. So actually, this self-compassion break may not be that easy at all. It will become easy for those of us who already have some mindfulness practices. So hopefully, with this mindfulness as a foundation, whenever we are struggling in whatever circumstances, Yeah, you can actually use this 3-step like a self-hypnosis, guiding yourself. Yeah, even in the office, you don't have to close your eyes. You can actually do it quietly in your heart. What you can do is quietly reflect. Yeah, check in, tune in, be aware and acknowledge. That's very struggling. Oops, that's feel very stressful. This is difficult right now. This is challenging. Yeah. And this step 1 is hopefully, yeah, we are aware and acknowledging of this difficulty non-judgmentally. Yeah, this is mindfulness. Because if you don't have mindfulness, when you are tuning in to acknowledge the difficulty, you may get entangled in that storyline and get into that rumination. Yeah. So this step 1 is so important. That means we pause ourselves, heighten our awareness, acknowledge it's difficult right now, acknowledge we are struggling right now, yeah, and not fall into the storyline. And then we move into step 2 and reflecting, hang on, whatever I'm struggling right now is a shared human condition. Yeah, so you can use helpful phrases like hang on here, hang on, I'm not alone in my struggle. It's okay not to be okay. Yeah, so as I'm reflecting on common humanity, because I'm not alone, I can find resources or I reach out for help. This willingness to reach out for help, yeah, is under common humanity. Yeah, because we are not going to fall into our dark hole. Yeah, passively withdrawn ourselves, right? So step 2, common humanity, very important. Yeah, pausing ourselves due to that difficulty, step 1. And then remember, don't fall into that dark hole. I'm not alone. Get help, get help, get help. Yeah, step 2. Step 3 is, of course, yeah, because of my struggling, what can I do to comfort myself? Immediately give yourself some self-kindness. Yeah. So again, helpful phrases to comfort yourself. You know, I'm not perfect. I make mistake. Yeah. And I'm not alone. Yeah. I'm learning. I'm learning how to accept my limitation. You can do simple act of kindness towards yourself at that point. Taking a pause, take a few mindful breaths, or even take a break. Just take that 5 minutes break. Go walk to the kitchen, get yourself a glass of water or a glass of juice, from the fridge, just to soothe and comfort yourself. Yeah. And in self-compassion module, we have another practice called soothing touch that we actually incorporate into self-kindness practice. Yeah. So I won't be able to teach you, yeah, because we are lack of time. Because soothing touch exercise, I will probably need another 15 minutes, yeah, to guide you through. Yeah. So, but that's how, in a very simple nutshell, she uses the 3 core element of practice, yeah, of self-compassion as a practice itself in this 3 step. Yeah. Being mindful of our challenges, reflecting on common humanity to calm ourselves further down, and to comfort ourselves, right? Self-kindness. This is self-compassion break. Okay, I will urge you, go and download the audio from the website. Yeah, it's for public. Yeah, it's there available, and try it out. Yeah. And of course, there's also this nice poster that is, equivalent to this self-compassion break, the 3 step. And of course, Christine Neff put it in another way. Yeah, 5 ways to be kind to yourself. Right? Check in, acknowledge your pain. That's mindfulness. Find a sense of common humanity. Of course, that's common humanity. Honor your anger. Treat yourself like you would treat a friend. This is self-kindness, including being kind to whatever arising emotion that we have, difficult emotion that we have, like anger. Okay. So this is a very nice poster. I thought, yeah, that is very equivalent to the self-compassion break 3 step. Yeah. And these are some areas. I'm not going to address this, but I just want to highlight for self-compassion practices. It is very helpful in this area of, like I say, helping ourselves if we are struggling with self-criticism, self-judgment, or self-doubt, yeah, or the inner critic. Yeah. How do you treat yourself? Yeah. So this is one of the best part about this intervention. Yeah. When I first read Chris Germer book, it was like an enlightening moment for me. Yeah. That there are, clear steps, clear guidance. And since then, I've been using that for a lot of my individual counseling session, especially in this area of helping individuals who struggle with, strong self-criticism, self-judgment, self-doubt, or what we call the inner critic. Yeah, this is one. Yeah. Or another big one, people who struggle with, am I good enough? Am I as good as they are? Yeah, keep comparing yourself to other people. Yeah. So, and of course, this is under the self-judgment, right? Am I good enough? This is a big struggle for a lot of people. Yeah. And of course, another big area that we find that self-compassion practices or intervention is so helpful is in the area of managing shame. This is another huge area. And Dr. Chris Germer, is really, I would say, an expert in this area of research and practice. Yeah, and Chris Germer is a clinical psychologist. Yeah, so that's why I think I was so attuned to his book. Yeah, being a clinical psychologist myself, right? So immediately, that attunement is so clear. So this is another huge area, dealing with shame. Yeah. And of course, okay, this one is another one, not important, right? So, and this is my last slide on the basic sharing.